Hi, I'm Theodore Snapdragon. Welcome to my channel where I talk about writing and media analysis. Today I'm going to argue for a hot take. Exposition dumps aren't bad. Now, some people will use exposition dumps as a term only for when exposition is delivered badly, but I don't think that's very useful, and that's not how I'm going to be using the term today, nor do I think it's how people generally use the term necessarily. I think we can just say badly done exposition for badly done exposition. The idea behind an exposition dump specifically is that when you write a lot of exposition, when you have paragraphs or pages of exposition, that is inherently bad. What is exposition? Exposition is descriptions of the world, how it works, and the logistics of it, the details, the specifics. An exposition dump might describe a hierarchy of a government or the geography of a world. Now, a lot of people think this is inherently bad, and it can be a problem, especially in sci-fi and fantasy. Like a lot of writing advice, this is based a lot in mistakes that new writers make. A lot of new writers get way too excited about their world, and right up front they tell you way too much about it, when you don't even know why you should care about the world yet, and that is bad. When you're bogging the reader down with a bunch of descriptions of a world that they don't even have any investment in terms of the characters or what is happening, that is bad. But taking a long time to describe exposition with paragraphs or even pages, I don't think is on its own inherently bad. Once you have the reader invested in the world, interested in what is happening, then you can describe it. The other problem with exposition dumps is that often it's delivered very dryly, like it's in a textbook or something. And that is bad as well. You don't want to deliver exposition like you're talking to a class and trying to give the most boring lecture ever. But this is not the only way to do exposition, and just because someone is describing exposition for a while or taking time to discuss exposition in the writing does not inherently make it monotone or boring. The key thing is you need to put in entertaining aspects of your exposition. Things like irony, humor, opinions, and subjective ideas. If you have a character describing a system that they really hate for obvious reasons, that can be pretty interesting, and you can add a lot of humor and irony there. Exposition, or the description of settings and world, doesn't have to be inherently bad or wrong to include, and in fact it's a vital part of science fiction and fantasy. The kind of modern idea behind exposition is that you should introduce it in as small a chunk as possible when it is relevant. I don't think that that's a bad way of doing it, but I don't think it's the only way of doing it. I think once you have a reader invested in your world, once you have a reader who knows characters who are affected by the world and care about them, that exposition that is delivered through an interesting perspective or with humor can go on for a while and still be really interesting and entertaining. I also think that science fiction and fantasy audiences, if you're writing hard sci-fi or hard fantasy, might want that exposition. A lot of the advice is based on the idea of trying to market your sci-fi or fantasy at a general audience. And while no matter what, I think you need to make your exposition interesting, insert perspective, humor, irony, or whatever it takes to create layers and complications that can be engaging to an audience, I do think that aiming your story at sci-fi and fantasy readers who want exposition isn't a bad thing, and I think the treatment of exposition dumps as inherently bad is stigmatizing and misleading. I understand why the advice came to be, but I don't agree with it. I don't think exposition dumps are inherently bad. That is my perspective. I'm doing a bunch of little videos on writing advice on this channel, in part to test my audio quality and to get a sense of what people are interested in. So tell me what you think. Did you like this topic? What do you think about exposition dumps? Also, what about my audio and visual quality? Do you like it? What are your thoughts? I'm trying to deliver to the people what they want. So tell me, the people, what do you want? Thanks, and see you next time. Remember, writing is a dragon-sized journey that involves liking, commenting, and subscribing to my YouTube channel. That last part is a lie, but you should do it anyways. Thanks, bye.